Hello friends, and welcome back to this Homeschooling Naturopath. If you are new here, my name is Hannah and I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 little girls who are 10, 8, and 6, and I'm also a fully qualified naturopath living and working in New Zealand. On this channel I share content related to homeschooling, homemaking, motherhood, as well as some naturopathic info throughout some of my content here. Today's video is all about scheduling. I'm going to break it down for you guys how I schedule out our entire year to fit in all of our homeschool curriculum, how I schedule our weeks, and how I schedule our days. So if you're interested to see how I schedule everything to fit everything in, stay tuned. Okay, so scheduling. I know that when I first started homeschooling, and I am not by any means like an expert homeschooler or a veteran homeschooler for that matter. We have only been homeschooling for 2 years, so by no means do I know it all or have any type of expertise in this area. But I know that when we first started, I was super confused as to how I could fit everything in. I had decided on all the curriculum I wanted. I'd bought everything, you know, I had an idea of what I wanted to achieve, but I didn't really know how I was going to do it. How does one schedule perfectly to fit in all of this curriculum? So over the past 2 years, I have learned quite a lot. I have seen how different schedules affect me and how they affect my kids, and I know now I have a much better idea of how I need to schedule things in order for our homeschool to flow beautifully and for everyone to get along better and for my own mental health. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing, first of all, our yearly schedule, like our yearly layout, as well as our weekly schedule and our daily schedule. So I'm going to start with our year layout, first of all. So here in New Zealand, our summer months are December, January, and February. So the public school system here in New Zealand runs from about the start of February to about mid-December, you know, give or take. There is some variation, of course, in between schools, but in general, that is how public school here works. And the public school terms are broken into 4 terms, and the terms are about 9 to 10 weeks long. Now, when we initially started homeschooling, it just seemed natural to follow that same schedule. It was a schedule that my kids had been on ever since my oldest daughter was 2 years old and she started at kindergarten, because even a lot of the preschools and kindergartens run on the exact same schedule. There is that, you know, the big terms, 9 to 10 weeks, and then there's a 2-week break. Again, 9 to 10 weeks, 2-week break. 9 to 10 weeks, 2-week break, 9 to 10 weeks, and then your summer holidays. And so that is just a schedule that we always ran on ever since, you know, my oldest daughter was 2 years old, like I just said. And so when we started homeschooling, it just seemed natural, like it just seemed like the right thing to do to stay on that exact same schedule. My daughter still had friends that were still going to public school, and, you know, I wanted to make sure that they had the same free time that their friends had so that they could have play dates and stuff like that. I feel like our extended family kind of expect that we stay on the same schedule. My daughter's cousins that live not far from us, you know, they go to public school, and I felt like it was just expected that we be on the same schedule as all the other kids around us. Now, I had heard, you know, through word of mouth, through friends, through, you know, women here that share on YouTube, I had heard that having really big terms like that is not overly helpful in a homeschool. It's very difficult to replicate a 10-week term in a homeschool. And I can't tell you the exact reason why, but I can tell you that after homeschooling now for 2 years, following that public school system and having done 2 years of homeschooling with those 10-week terms, it is exhausting. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, it like takes everything that I have and just takes it away. For the past 2 years now, since we started homeschooling, come around mid-winter, around July, August, which is our winter time, come July, August, for the past 2 years, I have reached burnout. Like, totally just gone. Burnout to the point where I have no motivation to do anything. I look at all of our curriculum and I'm like, I don't even want to touch it. I look at the schedule that I have made for us and I am just so upset with myself that I committed to follow this schedule, you know, when I didn't feel like it was the 100% the right schedule for us. You know, I'll look at our next term break and it's not for another 6 weeks and I'm like, how am I going to get through all of this? This is also a time of year, you know, during winter time when we are not seeing the sun as often. Probably around this time I get vitamin D deficient and I just like mentally, for the past 2 years, I just have not coped well come that month of August. And honestly, this last year, 2023, by August, you guys, I was like done. Mentally, I was like checked out from homeschooling. Our science had failed, our history had failed, which I've talked about a little bit in our curriculum review for 2023, which I'll link down below. So really, by August last year, we were doing the bare minimum of homeschooling. My girls were doing their math and their language arts and their reading, and I was just reading our book club book to them and doing the literature guide alongside that. And you know, it's so easy to feel like I failed in some way, and I think that when you set really, really high expectations of yourself, it's so easy to not accomplish them and feel like you've done a really awful job. But honestly, when I look back and reflect on 2023, from that point in August when I, you know, basically put all of our curriculum aside except for my girls' math and reading and those literature guides, we had the best time. You know, that is when my focus was on nature study and just being with my kids and enjoying ourselves together and just being together. So anyways, long story short, you guys, this year for 2024, I did not want to stick to that same public school schedule of those 4 big 10-week terms. It does not serve me well. It does not serve my family well. For me, the fact that I was getting to exhaustion and burnout by, you know, halfway through our school year, it's not healthy. It's not conducive to, you know, a happy home, because if I'm not happy and if my cup is not full, I cannot pour in to everybody else's cup. So it was really, really important to me this year when making our homeschool schedule that I took that into account and made changes as necessary. So this year, you guys, is the first year we are not going to be following the public school schedule. We're no longer going to be doing those 4 big 10-week terms, and instead we are going to be doing 6-week terms. So I have laid this out in my planner, which I will put some footage of in here. Now we are going to be starting back to school in February, which actually last year I started us about mid-January. So this time last year we were already back at homeschool, and I look back on that and I just regret that I was so eager, and I really shouldn't have done that. In hindsight, you know, on beautiful summer days, my kids should be outside. They should be at the beach. They should be digging in dirt. They should be playing in the water, not sitting down doing homeschool work. And so this year I have really pushed back our start date. We will not start school until February 12th. That will be our first official day back. That first term, those first 6 weeks, will take us to March 22nd. And then we will have a 1-week break. Following that, we will do another 6 weeks, and that will take us into May. We'll have another 1-week break. We'll start back May 20th. We'll go for another 6 weeks. We'll have another 1-week break. And, you know, that will continue right up until the end of November. So the official date that will technically finish all of our curriculum will be November 22nd. And by that point, I want for us to have basically completed all of our science, all of our history, all of my girls' independent work, their math, their language arts, everything by November 22nd. I am hoping to have completed. And then when we come back in December, it will be specifically Christmas schooling. So I intend for these 3 weeks leading up to Christmas to be specifically Christmas schooling. There will be hopefully no math, no language arts, and none of that rigorous homeschool curriculum left for us, and we'll just be focusing on the Lord and celebrating the coming summer and getting ready for Christmas. We travel a lot around that time as well, so it's a really good time for us to be focusing on family and our connection together. So that is what our 2024 year layout will look like, and I'm honestly just so excited to see how this works. I think it will serve our homeschool a lot better. Moving in now to our weekly schedule. So I have a full video already on a homeschool schedule, which I will link down below for you guys. Our schedule has not changed much since I made that video. In fact, I still have here the exact same layout that I got from Canva, which I also had in that video. So if you want to check that video out, definitely do that, because I go in a lot more depth on our homeschool schedule and our weekly layout. So this layout has really not changed. For our week, as you can see, the mornings are always very, very similar, apart from Friday. Friday is going to be exclusively our enrichment day. This is a day where I have put time aside for our things like our artist study and our poet study and our laying down the rails and our handicraft if we want to practice it that morning. Any other type of enrichment that we want to do will be allocated time on a Friday morning. Now for the rest of the week, we always start with morning basket. We'll have 2 days of science and 2 days of history, and this has been how I have laid things out ever since we started homeschooling pretty much. And I really like that system. I think it's really nice to be able to have specific days for those subjects, because, you know, they are quite intensive at times, particularly science when we have experiments and things like that. So often with science, for example, on that Monday we will read our lesson, and then on Tuesday we will do the experiment that coincides with that. And it's often the same with history. We will read the lesson on Wednesday and then do the art project on the Thursday. And that is just how I like to lay out those family subjects. Following that, every day of the week, we then, you know, have it's called Read and Feed, and that is just our little morning break where we have a morning snack. My kids can go run around outside and all of that. And then we move into math and language arts, my girls' independent subjects, except for on Fridays. This is what I am calling Fun Friday, and this will be an afternoon activity of some kind, whether it is a nature study walk, an outing with our homeschool group. Sometimes we'll go to like a trampoline park or the beach in the summertime, beautiful walks, like anything that we want to do. This is our time to do that and to just be together. A poetry tea time is also something I really like to do on a Fun Friday. And as you can see from there, every day of the week is very, very similar. My girls get some time for free play after lunch, considering they have finished their math and language arts for the day. And then 4 days a week, my daughters will have sport in the afternoons, except for Wednesday. And Wednesday I have allocated handicraft time. So our handicraft for this coming school year is going to be crochet. So on a Wednesday afternoon after lunch, we will have specific time to sit down and practice crochet. I have a lot of cool ideas for what we're going to be working on this year, and I'm really excited to have that time put aside specifically for that. And then from 5 o'clock every day, you know, school is well and truly done by that point. And we are, you know, making dinner, doing our evening chores, getting ready for bed, and all of that. And that is pretty much how every week will flow. There are often times, for example, our book club group, that will be on a Friday morning once a month. And so, you know, there are often things that happen with our homeschool group that will affect this schedule from time to time. Yeah, there is some variation from week to week, but I just play that by ear. I adjust things as necessary. Looking now specifically at our daily schedule. So using the same timetable here, you can see the times on the side. My daughters generally wake up anywhere from about 7 to 7:30, and at 8 o'clock is when we start our morning chore time. And this is very much, you know, getting ready for the day, doing their morning chores, which every day they're different. They consist of putting a load of washing on, sometimes vacuuming, emptying the dishwasher, helping with breakfast. At 9 o'clock, we sit down for breakfast. I have kind of merged breakfast and morning basket here, but at 9 o'clock is generally when we sit down to eat breakfast, and that is also when we start our morning basket time. We always start with World Watch News. That takes 10 minutes, and we watch that while we eat. Usually I am done eating by that point, so that is when I will start reading from whatever we're doing for morning basket that day. I have just shared a video with everything that we're going to be doing in our morning basket for this 2024 school year, so I'll link that down below for you guys to check out as well. Morning basket generally takes anywhere from about a half an hour to an hour. So as soon as we have finished with morning basket, we move into a little cleanup time. You know, we clear off the table, quickly wash the dishes from breakfast and all of that. And during that time, I do encourage the girls to go out and play for a few minutes, to go play outside, or often they like to do a brain break on YouTube, which is just like a fun little dance kind of activity that they really enjoy. And then I will set up for science. So on a Monday and Tuesday, I'll be setting up for science. And this year we are starting the year with botany. Again, all of that information is in our family subject video. So on a Monday and Tuesday, I'll be setting up for botany. And then on a Wednesday and Thursday, I'll be setting us up for history. Both science and history generally take about an hour to do. About 11 or 11:30, we take a morning break snack. This is what I like to call read and feed, and usually I set up a little picnic blanket for the kids, and I will sit down and read to them, usually either our book club book or another read aloud that we are reading. Sometimes it's our history book even, and I will sit down and read to them while they eat, and then I always encourage them to go play outside again, get some fresh air, have a run around, or again, do a brain break. When they come back in, I would have cleaned up from that morning break already, you know, have everything set up for them to start their math and language arts. I have videos with all of my girls' independent subjects, which I will link down below for you guys so you can see exactly what each of them will be doing in this independent hour. But usually it only takes an hour for all of them to get their math and their language arts done. That is a time when we all go, you know, our separate ways. My oldest daughter is very independent now. She does all of this on her own. And then my middle daughter and my youngest one, typically I'll kind of move in between them and help them with what needs to be worked on and what they need help with. My youngest daughter in particular, we are doing all about reading, and so that is obviously very teacher intensive, so I usually will sit with her for quite a while here. Once I have finished helping my younger two daughters, I will go and start to make lunch. I have very specific meal plans that I follow, and so I always know exactly what is going to be for lunch, and often I will have started preparing that earlier in the day as well. From there, we have our lunch, and then typically each day is usually free play time, and this is a time when my girls can just do what they want. They can play, they can go outside, they can go ride their bikes or scooters, they can go draw with chalk, they can go dig in the garden, they can whatever they want, okay? And this is usually when I will eat lunch. Often in this time too, we'll take the dog for a walk if he hasn't been anywhere already. Typically from about 3 p.m. onward is when their extracurricular sports will start. My daughters are going to be doing swimming lessons, dance, as well as rugby this coming school year. So yes, all of that happens from about 3 p.m. You know, every day is different. Like, yeah, I haven't even gotten the schedule yet, to be honest with you guys. So, and then from sport, you know, is into dinner and all of that. And that is basically how our daily schedule runs. And that is how I am able to fit in all of our curriculum that I have picked for us. Wednesdays are different. Wednesdays, rather than having a sport on or having that free play time, that is when we will focus on our handicraft. Like I said before, our handicraft is crochet. And then the only thing that is different here is our Friday schedule. Our Friday schedule is very different to the rest of the week because it is our enrichment day. This is the day that we'll focus on our poet and our composer and our artist and our bird study and all of that great enrichment stuff that I really want to add into my daughter's education. All right, you guys, so that is an in-depth look at what our yearly schedule, our weekly schedule, and our daily schedule will look like this coming school year. It is so important for us and in our homeschool to have a really good, solid routine and to have these schedules in place to know what we are supposed to be doing at what times. You know, while we often don't stick to exact times, it is still very important that we have this rhythm. So I'm not like rigorous in like, oh my gosh, it's 1 o'clock, we have to have lunch right at this very moment. It's just more of a rhythm and the routines that we have in place to make sure we're, you know, running on track and that everything is going how it should be. All right, you guys, I hope you found this video helpful. I hope it gives you some inspiration into how you want to set up your next homeschool year and how you want to plan and set things up. I personally find schedules and planning and goals and all of that very helpful. It keeps me on track, and it's, you know, it's a way that our homeschool just runs much more smoothly. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.